In this video, we will try to cover last 1 year and even some of the important events in international relations issues which are in news and which are continues to be in news. We will have two videos. The first video, that is this video, will cover the places which are in news. The second video will cover the summits or some important organization meetings in India and around the world. The first topic which we choose is Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina offered Chittagong port for India's use. This will help Assam, Tripura, Meghalaya, Mizoram. One should remember that Bangladesh is sharing the largest boundary with India. Around 4,000 kilometers boundary was shared between India and Bangladesh. Further, states like Assam, Meghalaya, Mizoram, Tripura, and even West Bengal sharing boundaries with Bangladesh. I would like to inform there are some important current issues which continues to remain in news even from last 1 year. In that, we have Maitri Setu, in other words, Bharat Bangla Maitri Bij. Bharat Bangla Maitri Bridge, which will connect Tripura in India and Ramagrah in Bangladesh. One important fact is it was constructed across Feni River. Further, one of the controversial issue where West Bengal is also raising objections against rising BSF jurisdiction area. Now, this year we have Indo-Bangladesh petrol pipeline which was inaugurated between India and Bangladesh. That is India-Bangladesh Friendship Pipeline, which is an important pipeline going to provide energy to the Bangladesh. Constructed between Numali Graha Refinery in India and it is going to connect Bangladesh and it will cater needs of the Bangladesh people. Next important issue which was associated with Bangladesh which is in news is Chakmas and Hajongs. Chakmas belongs to Buddhist religion, Hajongs belongs to Hindus. Both are migrated community from Bangladesh and they remain one of the controversial issue between India and Bangladesh. Right now, these people currently located in Assam region and also in Arunachal Pradesh region. So, Supreme Court even offered citizenship for them way back in 2015 itself. So this is also one more current issue associated with this Bangladesh. Further, India recently discussed about Maitri Dharmar plant and Rupusha Bridge, Mongla port. Till now, Bangladesh continues to rise conflict over Teesta River issue. But this year, they even spoke about when Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina came to India, she even spoke about Kushiara River issue. Now, Kushiara River, which is one of the important river between India and Bangladesh, which was the distributary of Barak River. This is a river which is flowing in Manipur of Indian territory. This river is now in some controversial issue. However, Indian government carried Kushiara River Water Treaty this year to solve the issue. So Kushiara River is also in news. One should remember this Kushiara River also within the India-Bangladesh news. Further, one more issue is Kuki Chin community who are in news and who are migrants from Bangladesh. One important topic I want to confirm that India is not signatory of Refugees Convention, meaning we are not bound to support the refugees. So Kuki Chin community is also news along with Chakmas and Hajoms. Do remember. The next issue is Myanmar, which was in news because of its military rule. Thatma Daw, we call the military of Myanmar. So Thatma Daw is in news, and here they conducted Langkong Mekong meeting in Myanmar, Bagan. Langkong Mekong meeting, which is similar to one Indian meeting also, and this includes China, Cambodia, Laos, Myanmar, Vietnam, Thailand. But we should remember India's association with Myanmar, that is, we have Mekong Ganga Cooperation 2000 started in 2000 year. It includes Cambodia, Laos, Myanmar, Vietnam, Thailand, and India. Quite important one, which will promote tourism, education, and transport. And we will discuss in the second video about all these organizations. Just have an idea about this. Further, we have an important agreements with Myanmar. For example, Kaladan project, which is going to connect Kolkata, Howrah, Haldia to the Sittwe port of Myanmar. Further, we have IMT treaty, that is India, Myanmar, Thailand, Asian, considered to be one of the important connecting point to Asia and Southeast Asia, South Asia and Southeast Asia, that is India, Myanmar, and Thailand. So one should remember these previous topics also when Myanmar is in news. This issue, which is now going to discuss, is one of the highly controversial and debate issue. I added two such controversial issues in one topic. For example, last year, Yuan Wang ship, which is considered to be surveillance ship of China, came to Hambantota, even though India objected its entry in these regions. So Hambantota, you are well aware that a Chinese-funded port area, which was creating a debt trap for Sri Lanka. Now, Yuan Wang is the name one should remember, a surveillance ship which came to this region, Indian Ocean region. I would like to inform that one more controversial issue which China created is spy balloons. So here comes the point. Spy balloons are one of the cheapest and much used one, which was also used during World War times. Later, after World War times, even in Cold War times also, it was used by both USA and USSR. Now, China used these spy balloons as per the allegations raised by the Canada and even Australia, sometimes even USA also. In fact, USA is the leading country which is raising allegations against China. I would like to tell you that from Chinese point of view, these are weather observatory balloons. Whatever, this year we have these spy balloons in news, particularly in Montana, an area which is having the Air Force of USA. So this name is important and spy balloons also important. Do remember for our exam. Next topic which is in news is Nepal. Nepal recently conducted elections to its presidential position and also prime minister and even vice president also. So Nepal is should be remembered. The states which are sharing boundary with Nepal, we have Uttarakhand, we have Sikkim, Uttar Pradesh and Bihar. Further, Nepal is a buffer state, meaning a state which is located between two important geopolitical countries, or you can say enemy countries. So now we have two important names, that is Ramachandra Paudwal, the new president of Nepal, Pushpakamal Dahal, we call him as Prachand as a prime minister. And recently they conducted vice president elections. Ram Sahya Prasad Yadav. Ram Sahya Prasad Yadav became the vice president of Nepal. So 2 years back, Nepal raised cartographic aggressions, that is showing some India territory as their map, their places. We have Kalapani, Lipuleka Pass and Lipiadura. Try to remember these places. UPSC will just give you names, so you may be confused. So remember these places. Next topic, which we even covered in our previous videos, is NATO membership. I am not going into the topic, but I will tell you that in 1949, in Washington Convention, Harry S. Truman announced a group which is going to have collective security as the theme. Then we have North Atlantic Treaty Organization. Opposition, we have Warsaw Pact by USSR. Now this year, after the Russia-Ukraine conflict, the countries which are close to the Russian region, they are having apprehensions over Russia's attitude. So they decided to join with NATO. One such country is Finland, Sweden. Sweden is right now yet to come. So Finland became the 31st country joined in NATO. 30th country is Montenegro. And now we have 31st one, that is Finland. If all goes well, we will have 32 countries as Sweden. But Sweden was opposed by Hungary and Turkey. Even Finland was opposed, but they accepted. But Sweden, they are not accepting. Because Sweden have some support to Kurdistan people, which are not in news this year at high level, but still they are in news. So I request you, Kurdistan people, just have an idea who are Kurds and from which country they are located. They are located mostly in Iraq, Iran and even Turkey. They are demanding Kurdistan, which is a separate country for them. Any creation of this Kurdistan is going to hamper the territorial positions of Turkey and even Iraq and even Iran. However, Turkey is severely objecting this existence of Kurds and alleging Sweden that Sweden is supporting Kurdistan party. That is the main allegation against the Sweden. So it can be delayed, but I think so it will join in the coming days. But remember that Finland joined as of today. Sweden may join in the coming future. I can request you that for further details you can watch the previous video. Now, the next important current affair issue, which was in news with respect to international relations, is Nord Stream gas pipeline. One should remember that this was the most important subtopic which was continuously exist in news after the Russia-Ukraine war. Now, one can ask me, sir, what is this topic is about? Actually, it was a gas pipeline from Russia to Germany. This Nord Stream 2 project was having some issues. Example, the pipeline was leaked in last year, where Russia alleged NATO did it, and Germany was also attacking Russia. We should not focus about who is blaming whom. We should focus about the important places in the Nord Stream 2. See, Nord Stream 1, which was in news again at that time, Germany and Russia. Now you can see that from Ust-Luga in Lumbin of Russia to Greifswald in Germany. I would like to tell you that Nord Stream includes the name Nord, means there are Nordic countries involving nearby the region. The Nordic countries are Denmark, Norway, Sweden, Finland, Iceland. So these are the Nordic countries we call. So Nordic countries are Denmark, Norway, Sweden, Finland, Iceland. So these are the Nordic countries. However, some people also saying that Greenland, Ireland, and even Faroe Island, which are very less in news. In fact, some countries, some websites, even some books, it doesn't wrote these comes under Nordic countries, but just have an idea. Greenland, Ireland, and Faroe Island also comes under Nordic regions. So, I would like to inform again, this topic is quite important. Please do focus about the names. This is Nord Stream 2, which is in news. In continuation, we will have one more topic from Europe. Here, Prime Minister visit to Germany. Apart from that, we have Germany Chancellor came to India. So Germany is in news because of these visits, and even internationally it is in news because of its Nord Stream 2 project. We will try to understand that Germany Chancellor Olaf Scholz came to India this year. So just locate the Germany and its borders. You see Germany sharing borders with the North Sea and even Baltic Sea. Further, Germany also having countries like Switzerland, which is very important during World War I. In fact, this is one of the reasons why British entered here. France and even Poland, Czech Republic and Austria. Just remember the names of the Germany and why it is in news I told you already. Next we have Great Britain is in news. From the appointment of Prime Minister Rishi Sunak to the controversy of Northern Ireland Protocol, it is in news. So Great Britain formed in 1707 with Act of Union, which consists of Wales, Scotland, Wales and even Northern Ireland. So these are the three important places one should remember. So Wales, Northern Ireland and Scotland consists in UK. And Northern Ireland, which is unhappy with the Brexit, which is continuously in news. Now, I would like to tell you that this topic is important, particularly the names are important here. Northern Ireland Protocol. Now, this includes the issue of movement of goods. Northern Ireland is also trying to have its hold in getting relations with the European Union, whereas Britain doesn't want to have a close relations with the European Union. Only trade and economic activities is looking forward by Britain. Not getting into the deep of the topic, I would like to tell you that these names are important, do remember. Next important current affair issue, in fact the much debated one, is Indo-Pacific Economic Framework. Indo-Pacific Economic Framework, which was put forward by USA this year. Now, before going to tell this topic, I would like to give you a brief about the issue. We have Trans-Pacific Partnership Agreement with 12 members. This Trans-Pacific Partnership, which includes the Pacific countries, there is no India in this, do remember. Next we have Donald Trump announced exit from this group. Then we have comprehensive, progressive Trans-Pacific Partnership with 11 members. It doesn't have USA and even doesn't have India. Do remember that. Now recently, this year only, I think 2 weeks back, UK joined here in this grouping. So this is quite important to remember. From these two agreements, USA tried to integrate with the other countries in the region. But Donald Trump government doesn't show any kind of interest towards these relations. Then Joe Biden announced this Indo-Pacific Economic Framework, which consists of countries from Indonesia, even Indian Ocean plus Pacific Ocean. See here, India is part of this. And the other Indian Ocean countries which are part of it are Australia is also part of it. Even Indonesia is part of it. Thailand is part of it. So just remember all these countries quite important. And the neighbors of India, Singapore, maritime neighbors, Singapore, Malaysia is part of it. So do remember that. If you see this mechanism, it is a clear way to integrate into the Pacific Ocean and even Indian Ocean regions. There is a vast difference between TPP, CPTPP and also IPEF, because the comprehensive progressive agreement for Trans-Pacific Partnership includes mostly countries in the Pacific Ocean region and some in the Indian Ocean region also, but doesn't give a scope for India, whereas IPEF laid down India's scope here. I just want to add here, this includes supply chain, infrastructure and even promoting the trade mechanism among the countries. So IPEF, do remember. Continuation with that topic, we have 2+2 dialogue this year in Japan. 2+2 includes one foreign minister and one defense minister of each country. We'll discuss about the issue. Different issues at internal and even international level. India had 2+2 dialogue with Japan, Australia, USA. One should remember that India even had same kind of dialogue with Russia also. Generally, we will focus only these three countries, but even Russia also had similar kind of mechanism. I just want to add, India had similar kind of thing called as informal dialogue. Began with even Russia itself in Sochi around 2017. Next year in 2018, with China, it had informal dialogue in the country, China itself in Wuhan. In 2019, I think it was in India, had China informal dialogue in Mamallapuram or Mahabalipuram. So this kind of mechanisms we should remember, which are in use. And this year we have Quad meeting in Japan. So remember this, India, Japan, Australia and USA had Quad meetings. And Quad began around in 2006 after the tsunami impact in India. Further, Shinzo Abe mentioned that India and Japan's relations are nothing but confluence of two oceans, that is Indian Ocean and Pacific Ocean. Further, both were strengthened their relations. Later, Japan, India and USA added to the list. Australia came in the early times, 2010, 9, around that time. But it stepped back due to domestic politics. And from 2019 onwards, it started to engage with Quad countries. One important fact one should remember that Malabar exercise should be remembered. Malabar exercise was a defense exercise which was commenced in the Indian Ocean region. One should remember that it was a defense exercise began in 1992 between India and USA. But in 2015, Japan was added. In 2019, Australia was added. So now it is Quad countries involving in Malabar exercise. We can say like that. Then an India-bound Russian cargo using international north-south transport corridor reached Iran. Now, this topic is quite important with respect to India and even Russia. India planned this INSTC, International North-South Transport Corridor, which consists of countries like India, Iran, Azerbaijan, and Russia. One should remember it also includes Kazakhstan, Armenia, which is in news, I will tell you in the later slides, Belarus, Tajikistan, Kyrgyzstan, Oman, and Syria. So it passes through all these countries. In fact, even it passes to Ukraine also. So INSTC is in news because Indian bound cargo reached INSTC and used INSTC and reached Iran. Quite important, as I told you. And what is important is this cargo even passed through Turkmenistan and even it reached the Iran. So these names are important. Do remember, try to have an idea about this topic. Understood? So INSTC is in news. I request everyone should remember these facts for longer time. One important associated thing is this was synchronized through so-called an agreement which is Ashgabat Agreement. Ashgabat Agreement. So this agreement finalized the INSTC and rest of the issues. We will see the next topic which are associated with the issue. One is Chabahar project. Chabahar was reviewed between India and Iran. You should remember that already two terminals, port terminals began. One is Shahid Kalantari, one is Shahid Bisti. Both are important for our exam point of view. The names are important, even location is also important. Then China announced a 400 billion dollars deal with Iran. So these names are important. Chabahar port, Gwadar port is in Pakistan, which is important for CPEC. And Pakistan is denying entry of Indian goods and help to Afghanistan. Hence, India reached the Iran. In 2016, it's a trilateral agreement between India, Afghanistan, and Iran. From here, Chabahar, goods will reach to the Jahidan, and then from using train route, Jaranj and Dilaram, it will reach to Afghanistan. So this is the topic. Do remember that. One thing I want to confirm to you that Chabahar rail project of India and Iran was cancelled after China's agreement with Iran. Next issue is Russia launches nuclear icebreaker in Arctic region. So Arctic region is important, and one should have an idea about different places in Arctic region with respect to Indian government. Now, Russia launch over Arctic region reminds people to identify the India's projects in Arctic region. In Arctic region, India is very much active and trying to do several research here. We have the Treaty of Paris, and India sent first expedition to Arctic region in 2007. Later, it had several research areas in this region. I just want to add even Antarctica things also here. For example, we have Antarctica projects like Dakshina Gangotri, first one, Maitri, and Bharati and Sagar Nidhi. I just want to tell you Arctic projects Himadri India Arc. So Himadri India Arc for Arctic region, whereas Dakshina Gangotri, Maitri, Bharati and Sagar Nidhi for the Antarctic region. India became observer in the Arctic Council, and Ottawa Declaration is establishing the Arctic Council. Do remember that information also. Further, I would like to tell you the next important current affair issue, which was in news from last 1 year, is Ukraine crisis. Well, I'm not going into the topic history, but I will focus only on the names of the places. Way back in 2013, 2014, Russia launched its campaign or its military campaign against Ukraine, and where Ukraine was unable to defeat or protect its borders, and Russia annexed Crimea. This led an important place because the Kerch Strait, an important strait to trade with the other countries between Ukraine and Crimea, was annexed by Russia. When it was annexed by Russia, the economic growth or trade of Ukraine started to decline. Further, in this recent times, way back in 2022, in Feb, Russia launched massive attacks against Ukraine. There are a couple of points we can understand, but the main important point is Russian point of view is it is nothing but defensive realism. From Ukraine point of view, it is invasion or offensive realism. Russia is telling that I am just defending my borders from the NATO aggression. Russia is telling that Ukraine is telling that Russia is coming to their borders. The names of different places, Mariupol and Zaporizhzhia, Mykolaiv, Kherson, Odessa, Dnipro, all these places are important. Do remember that. Further, as I told you, the countries which are sharing boundaries with Ukraine is also important. Do remember that and try to have thorough reason on this point of view. So, Ukraine sharing boundaries with Russia, Belarus, Moldova, Slovakia, Poland, Hungary and Romania. I repeat again, you should have an idea about north to south, east to west also. So Russia, on the north we have Belarus, on the northwest we have Poland, and west we have Slovakia, Hungary, Romania, Moldova. Further, Sea of Azov, quite important one, which is separating Russia and Ukraine. Snake Island, which in the beginning conquered by Russia, later it was recovered by Ukraine, is also important, which is located in Black Sea. So whatever the place which is in news, as I told you, Crimea, Strait of Kerch is important, just have an idea. So these places like Mariupol, Berdyansk, Kherson, Odessa, all are important. And the regions, that is Luhansk and Donetsk, Doab regions, in fact, of Russia is also important. Do remember that in our revision point of view. In addition to that, I just want to add one more issue here, that is Straits Convention. Straits Convention with respect to Bosphorus and Dardanelles, which are connecting this Sea of Marmara. One might read about Strait Convention, which I will tell you again now. But before that, these two important regions are quite important with respect to the Strait Convention. Now, one can ask themselves why these names are important. Because when the trade of countries who are involved in Russia-Ukraine issue, that is Ukraine and Russia, was disrupted, they demanded the implementation of Straits Convention. So one Straits Convention is allowing countries to trade with different locations, and under this we have Montreux Convention with respect to straits. This Montreux Convention is an international agreement regulating Bosphorus and Dardanelles. So these two locations are important, and Turkey guarantees under this treaty 1936 that complete freedom will be given. Complete freedom will be given to the countries which are going to have trade in this region. Okay, so this is an important thing. So just remember, quite important issue within the Russia-Ukraine crisis. Further, we have one more issue, which is SWIFT. So SWIFT is a financial transaction instrument between the countries. Russia was blocked from here. Next, remember Black Sea here, Sea of Azov, which is separating Ukraine and Russia. Black Sea, so surrounding countries should be important. So Turkish burger is the mnemonics you can use. So Turkey, B stands for Bulgaria, U stands for Ukraine, R stands for Romania, and G stands for Georgia, and R stands for Russia. But don't remember like this. Remember north-south and east-west, quite important for the prelims point of view. So or else you can get a question that which of the following is not sharing boundaries with Black Sea. You can easily identify by this Turkish burger. Do remember that, quite important. Next, earthquake in Turkey and Syria. We are well aware that India sent Operation Dost under this campaign. Now, already we have Black Sea. So 2015 there was a question, that is Turkey is located between which two seas? So Black Sea and Mediterranean Sea, and also we have Aegean Sea here, which is a conflict between Greece and Turkey. We will see in the next thing. Next we have one more country, Syria. You can see Syria here. So Syria is also in news because of Operation Dost. We will check out that Syria location also. So Syria is in news. I think it is missed. Sorry for that. But anyway, Syria is in news because of these conflicts. Apart from that, some internal crisis in Syria, some internal crisis in Gulf region. You know very well that Syria is Shia country and continuously having conflicts with the rebels. Syria boundaries are Turkey. We have Iraq in the east, Turkey in the north. Then we have Jordan in the south and Lebanon in the southwest. So Syria is also bordering Israel also. So do remember all these places, quite important for our exam. Next we have the conflict of Armenia, Azerbaijan, Nagorno-Karabakh. which was in news from last few years. In fact, after the disintegration of USSR, it is in news. Nagorno-Karabakh is region, quite important thing. So Armenia and Azerbaijan sharing this. And I would like to tell you that Azerbaijan is also sharing boundary with Caspian Sea. So we will try to understand the boundaries around the Caspian Sea. The acronym is TARIQ. So it consists of Turkmenistan, consists of Kazakhstan, Russia, Iran and Azerbaijan. So TARIQ is a simple thing. It consists of it consists of Turkmenistan, and then consists of Russia, consists of Azerbaijan, which already we had an idea here. Then we have Iran, which is also sharing boundary with that. So, and then Kazakhstan. So TARIQ is an acronym, a mnemonics we can remember. So TARIQ, K stands for here, Kazakhstan, do remember that. Next we have Aral Sea, which is also in news because of its continuous degradation. So Aral Sea is sharing boundary with how many seas, how many countries. So Aral Sea is sharing boundaries with 6 countries: Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan and Afghanistan. So try to have an idea here. But Aral Sea is dividing by the people of Kazakhstan and even in the Uzbekistan. Just look at them. Next, Kazakhstan is part of in news because of its continuous internal conflicts. So Caspian Sea is already boundary with Kazakhstan. We already did with the thing, TARIQ, just have an idea. And it is unable to control the riots or protests. So it took the help from the CSTO. So CSTO, which is quite important during the time of post USSR, that is Coalition of Security Treaty Organization. So collective security treaty organization, which is consists of members like Armenia, Belarus, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Russia and Tajikistan. So today also Russia is the key player in providing security to these Central Asian countries. Then India was not included in China or Indian Ocean Regional Forum. So India is one country which was excluded. You see, USA is maintaining that India is the core of the Indo-Pacific region, but India was eliminated from the Indian Ocean Regional Forum by China. So this is going to create one new organization called as China International Developing Cooperation Agency. Under this China International Developmental Cooperation Agency, we will have an important discussions here which will help the Indian Ocean regions. So quite important name, just remember that. And as China is in news, let us try to understand its border conflicts. Recently 15 places renamed by China in Arunachal Pradesh. Do remember that this is Aksai Chin area, conflict region, Galwan Valley, Pangangso, Demchok, Nathula Pass, which is Sikkim region, also in news. Then Arunachal Pradesh, which is in news. The main conflict is in 1914 Shimla Convention, China alleging that British doesn't involve Chinese at that time. So it is an agreement which is not including Chinese. Aksai Chin area, according to Johnson Line in 1860s, the region of Aksai Chin and Ladakh belongs to India. But in 1890s, with the McDonald's line, the British said it belongs to China. So there was a confusion. Without giving clarity, British left India. So that created a lot of problems. So this is the issue of Aksai Chin. And the Nathula Pass and Arunachal Pradesh. I request you to remember that this is considered to be western boundary between India and China, central or middle, and this is eastern boundary. One suggestion given by Premier of China, ex-Premier of China, Chohu Enlai, that Ladakh or Aksai Chin area, mostly Aksai Chin area should be given to China and they will compromise with Arunachal Pradesh. But it was not accepted by India, and still we have LAC which is continues to be in trouble areas of India and China. India announced its infrastructure project in Sabang port of Indonesia. So we will see Sabang port in news here. So remember that Sabang port. Malacca Strait is also important. Locate them. Quite important. And India's projects, different projects, or we have connections with Sabang port in India. Then we have Assumption Islands, Seychelles, Chabahar port, and remaining ports also important. Just have an idea. India France had a dialogue of strategic dialogue with respect to their relations. So France location is also important. Along with Germany, we had just a few slides back. And I also request you that France is in news continuously because of its internal crisis. So just look at France. France is open to Atlantic Ocean. France and its boundaries also important here. So France is located between Mediterranean Sea and even Atlantic Ocean. You can see here. So just have an idea. Next we have USA and Australia had beautiful relations this year. I would like to inform that AUKUS is also in news because the first batch of nuclear submarines was delivered to Australia. We will try to understand the whole issue AUKUS in the coming slides, but the names of this USA and Australia are important. HIMARS is one important defense project which was announced by Australia and USA. LMTN C-1305 aircraft and B-52 aircraft, F-35S aircraft, and HIMARS, that is high mobility artillery aircraft, is also brought by Australia. One question is, why Australia suddenly buying this? It is facing threats from China. There is an island, I request you to look at this, Solomon Islands, which are right now having security agreement with China, which is close to Australia. Solomon Islands are very close to Australia. So China is entering into Australian traditional zones. So Australia trying to cope up and develop its defense in countering to China. That's the reason it is buying this HIMARS, LMTN, B-52, F-35. Why these names are important? If you see 2018 paper, there was a question about THAAD. THAAD sometimes in news it is associated with. So similarly, we can get a question HIMARS. THAAD is a project between South Korea and USA. It's a missile system. So this is how we can remember. Further, next important news was India sent UN mission in Sudan under United Nations Peacekeeping Force. Let me break up the issue here. United Nations Peacekeeping Force works under International Security Council to protect the peace and human rights in conflict areas. So recently India sent the first ever women contingent to Sudan. We are well aware why Sudan in news today, because of internal conflicts between military and the civil government in Khartoum region. Indian tribes, Hakki Pakki tribes are stranded here. Do watch our previous video on this conflict, which will help you in understanding the Sudan history. Further, the mission to Sudan is not first time. India already sent similar kind of first women contingent to Liberia. So do remember these points for the next important exam. Then we have United Nations Security Council announcing Abdul Rahman Makki as a global terrorist. So do remember this name, United Nations Security Council resolution which designates the global terrorist. Okay, so how this process will goes on? That is, members will propose a organization or individual, and anyone who is having objections, they will raise their so-called objections against the proposal, and within a short span of tenure, the countries should get clarity about why it was blocked. So 1267 resolution, when it is proposed previously, it was blocked by China continuously. But within the 6 months of tenure, China should clarify its stand. So previously it was blocked by China, but India provided sufficient materials to the countries. Now it was accepted. So the process is important, and also the person name also. Then New Zealand is in news because of two important reasons. Number one, Jessica Ardern was resigned from her position, and after Jessica Ardern resigned, we have Chris Hipkins became the Prime Minister of New Zealand. Further, New Zealand is worst affected by Cyclone Gabriel this year. So look at that, there are two important islands here. One is South Island, one is North Island. South Island and North Islands are separated by Cook Strait. There is Tasman Bay, very important, and New Zealand is located between Tasman Sea and Pacific Ocean. Tasman Sea and Pacific Ocean, do remember that. So this is New Zealand geography. Just have an idea, it was affected by cyclones this year very badly. Next, with respect to this, I would like to tell you that Australia and New Zealand both decided to have separate kind of structure, that they don't want to have any kind of nuclear weapons or nuclear development at that region. Unfortunately, as I told you in the last slide, Australia started to have concerns over rise of Chinese presence. That's the reason Australia broke the agreement and went to have treaty like AUKUS. So as Australia is in news, we should also connect with the New Zealand, and Australia and New Zealand separated by Tasman Sea itself. Remember these important things. Now this year we have Egypt President Abdul Fattah al-Sisi as a chief guest to our Republic Day celebrations. So Egypt, located nearby Mediterranean Sea and also Red Sea. Now here itself, I would like to tell you that Israel and its surrounded countries. Israel is in news because of its because of its peace deals with the other countries. Now Israel is started to have its own deals after the Abraham Accords. Now we will try to understand the borders of Israel, which are important at this moment. Egypt is also one of the important border. Jordan, Lebanon, Syria and Palestine. One should have clear-cut clarity about Israel borders, and Palestine with West Bank and Gaza, which is sharing with Israel. Israel open to Mediterranean Sea but not Jordan. Do remember that. Next, India and South Africa had memorandum of agreement over the 12 African 12 African cheetahs. Already we had with Namibia. This year Namibia cheetahs came to Kuno National Park. Cheetahs, the last cheetah in India died in Chhattisgarh in 1947, and in 1952 India announced itself that cheetahs are extinct. One should remember that within the 8 cheetahs which came from Namibia, Sasha, the tiger, the cheetah which was died in Kuno very recently. So the countries Namibia are important, South Africa is also important. So Namibia sharing border with North Atlantic region, Angola and Botswana, other countries. Lesotho is in news because of water crisis between South Africa and South Africa and Lesotho. Do remember that. Mozambique is also in news. Do remember this country also. Then United Nations General Assembly President Kasaba Korosi came to India and he witnessed beating retreat ceremony. Quite important one. Just remember the name. Now G20 Sherpa I will cover in the G20 meetings in the next event, but I brought here. He spoke about Web 3.0. Web 3.0 already asked in previous questions. Last year question only we have Web 3.0. So Web 1.0 is the thing which will allows you to read only reading option. Web 2.0 will help you in writing the content, and 3.0 nothing but you can have your own decentralized systems. So that is 3.0, which allows you for a decentralized system and you can interact. So that is 3.0. Just remember that. So this is decentralized artificial intelligence blockchain connectivity. Now I would like to bring important current affair issue, that is the defense exercises from Jan to April. We have different issues here. Number one, it all begins with in the month of January. We have exercise Dharma Guardian or Veer Guardian, and we also had the Veer Guardian between India and Japan. Further, we have naval drills, different naval drills. The one we can say that Indian Navy conducted naval drills. Next, we have dust lick between India and Uzbekistan, Fringex, France and India, exercise COPE between India and USA. And also we have exercise Tarkash, which is a India and USA military counter-terrorism operation. Indian Air Force conducted exercise Parallel, which is also in news. Further, we also had Cobra Warrior, which is between UK and India, Finland, USA. So Cobra Warrior is nothing but multilateral exercise. Then we have exercise Desert Flag. It is also multilateral exercise. And we will see such exercises here. That is France, La Parsi, between Quad countries and France and UK and Canada. Orion is a multilateral exercise. Just I would like to sum up all the multilateral exercises here. One is Desert Flag. Do remember that Desert Flag doesn't have India. Here there is no India. Do remember that. And next we have we have India here. India, UAE is here. Do remember that. India, UAE and other countries is there. Next we have next one more exercise called as IMX, that is International Maritime Exercise, which is also a multilateral exercise. Then we have Indian Army and Air Force conducted Vayu Prahar, Vayu Prahar recently, that is also in news. Do you have an idea? Now, USA conducted one operation against ISIS in Somalia. So, Somalia location is important. So, these are Horn of African countries. We have Djibouti, Eritrea, Ethiopia, and Somalia. Within these countries, Ethiopia is landlocked country. Somalia is open to Gulf of Aden and Indian Ocean here. Djibouti is also open to Gulf of Aden. Gulf of Aden. Eritrea is also open to here. So these regions are important. These regions are important. I would like to tell you that these regions are also sharing boundary with the Red Sea. Countries sharing boundaries with Red Sea are: on the eastern side we have Saudi Arabia and Yemen. On the western side we have Egypt, Sudan, Eritrea, and Djibouti. So Eritrea and Djibouti are sharing boundaries with Red Sea. Do remember that. Next, India and Tajikistan and Kazakhstan and these SCO countries meetings. You know very well 2023, India became the head of the SCO countries, and here SCO countries it includes almost 7 countries now. To begin with, in 1996 they had 5 countries. In 2001 Uzbekistan joined with them. In 2017 India and Pakistan joined with them. In 2022 in Samarkand meeting in, they willing to join Iran also, but yet to come Iran completely. So Russia, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, India, Pakistan, and China. So soon we're going to see Iran. So last year happened in Samarkand in Uzbekistan. Remember that. So this year India is already conducted SCO Auditor General's meeting in Lucknow, SCO Film Festival in Bombay, SCO Buddhist Heritage Festival is also going to happen in Varanasi. Next we have Czech elections. In Czech Republic we have elections. We have an ex-NATO general, Peter Pavel, very famous person. He became the president there. And further, Czech boundaries, Poland, Germany, which already in news because of Nord Stream 2, France also in news, Belgium, Austria and Hungary. Now here Poland, every year they will conduct one commemorative event to mark the expulsion of Nazi army in their place. The event is Birkenau Nazi death camp ceremony. But Russia was not invited this time. So Poland is in news as traditionally there was an event going to happen here, Birkenau Nazi death camp ceremony, but that was eliminated. That was conducted, but Russia was not invited. Germany is in news because its chancellor even visited to India, which we discussed already. Next important issue is Japan Coast Guard and China's Coast Guard had an issue over the Senkaku Islands. Senkaku Island is a conflict between China, even Japan, even Taiwan. Taiwan is also conflicting. Senkaku, Okinawa are important areas, and we have Chunzio, which is an important gas field area. So one important question is, Senkaku Island located in which sea? East China Sea, which is also part of LOC. So remember these names, quite important. And China and Taiwan are separated by a strait called as Formosa Strait. In fact, the name of the Taiwan previously is Formosa Strait. So further we have LOC bordering countries. We have China, North Korea and even South Korea. LOC bordering countries. Now we have Sea of Japan, and Sea of Japan is in news because of activities of China there. So Sea of Japan is also in news. So we should have an idea. Russia and Japan is sharing these boundaries. So Sea of Japan is right now located, the countries located around the Sea of Japan are China, North Korea, South Korea, Japan, North Korea, South Korea, Japan. So just remember these countries, quite important for our exam. Next we have China and even South China Sea issue. Philippines is now having an agreement with USA. So Philippines, which is the first and foremost country, raised objections against China. That is Sparkly Island. So Sparkly Island, Scarborough Shoal Island, Parasil Island. So are the islands in news. So Philippines now had alliance with USA in this region. So this region is important. All places are quite important. Just have an idea. Try to see which countries are part of this South China Sea. And this line is called as 9-dash line, which China is climbing all the regions in the South China Sea. Further we have Austria government suspended Russian diplomats under Vienna Convention. Vienna Convention is regulating the diplomatic relations between two countries. So one is Austria location is important. We have Germany, Czech Republic, Slovakia, Hungary, Slovenia and Italy. So just have an idea about Austria's location. And we have the Operation Dost. So the full topic we can cover here. Operation Dost, where India sent its assistance. So Turkey is in news and Syria is in news. So let us identify Syria here. Syria sharing boundaries with Turkey, Lebanon, Israel, Jordan and Iraq. So quite important, open to Mediterranean Sea also, just have an idea. Further with Turkey, we already had an idea, Black Sea, Bosphorus Sea and Dardanelles Sea, which we had an issue with the Russia-Ukraine war, and I told you Montreux Straits Convention and Sea of Marmara is there. Locate Mediterranean Sea, we will discuss about Cyprus within few slides. So Turkey is located between Black Sea and Mediterranean Sea already, which was in news, already asked by UPSC. Further, South Korean pilgrims visited Buddhist sites in India. For a few days they will spend time in India. Already Buddhist relics were sent to Mongolia last few years back. But my important thing is, you have to remember this Freedom Shield. Freedom Shield, an important exercise conducted by South Korea and USA. So this is important. Freedom Shield, again quite important name. Freedom Shield is exercise between India, USA and South Korea. USA and South Korea, do remember that. So South Korea, so LOC, South Korea is located here, and South Korea and North Korea are differentiated by 39 parallel. Okay, so remember these places, quite important one for our exam point of view. Korean Strait is important because Korean Strait and Tsushima Strait is located between South Korea and Japan. Then we have AUKUS, as I told you, the Solomon Islands, small oceanic country, had alliance with China. From then we have AUKUS here. So AUKUS Security Pact, which includes Australia, UK and USA. Quad, we already discussed it. Then Five Eyes countries. India is not part of Five Eyes. So what comes under Five Eyes countries, we will try to understand. So Five Eyes countries are Australia, Canada, New Zealand, UK and USA. These are the Five Eyes countries, do remember them. Next, Greece is in news and Cyprus is in news because of its president elections. Greece is in news because of train collision. So first of all, Cyprus is located within the Mediterranean Sea and it is having conflicts with Turkey. So Cyprus, even Jaishankar sir went to Cyprus last year. So just have an idea about Cyprus location. Greece is in news because of conflict with Turkey over the regions of Aegean Sea. So Aegean Sea is in news. These islands are in conflict. I don't recommend that islands will be asked, but just have an idea here. Spodorus, Cyclades and Crete, Ionian, and these are the islands which are in news. Just have an idea. So Aegean Sea is important one, and here Ionian Sea. You should see here. Greece is located here. Ionian Sea and Aegean Sea. Remember these places, and Mediterranean Sea is also here. So the islands which are in conflicts are these places. Just have an idea. Don't try to by heart. Just have an idea. Now, the treaties which are regulating Greece are Treaty of Lausanne and Treaty of Paris. According to Treaty of Paris, it is unarmed status agency. However, unfortunately, we are witnessing that now they are going to Erdogan, the president of Turkey, is trying to influence this region with his army. Later, the small countries which are in news, India and Singapore, because of UPI transactions, the agreement was done. India and UAE, we have CBDC, that is, they agreed to have the central bank digital currency deal. So just have an idea about UAE and other countries with respect to the things. And Kuwait is also in news. So just locate the Kuwait region, which is quite important for our exam point of view. Okay, so Kuwait region and also the important locations like Saudi Arabia, Persian Gulf. So countries bordering Persian Gulf is also important. So countries bordering Persian Gulf should be remembered for our exam point of view. So we have Bahrain, countries bordering Persian Gulf. We have Bahrain, and we have Qatar here. UAE is in news because of India UPI transactions. Saudi Arabia is also sharing the boundary. Iran is also sharing the boundary, and Iraq is also sharing boundary. So Persian Gulf countries, Iraq, Iran on the northern side. Then we have UAE on the coming to the bit south, and west we have Saudi Arabia, Oman, and other countries. Do remember these countries. Quite important for our exam point of view. Next we have India, Denmark recently conducted a summit. So Denmark and other countries are important. So already we discussed about Nordic countries. So Norway, Sweden, Finland, Denmark, Iceland. Remember that. So Nordic countries and Baltic nations. Baltic nations are Latvia, Estonia, and Lithuania. Quite important as they are suffered by Russia-Ukraine issue. Then we have Nordic countries. We all discussed this during Nord Stream 2 project. Then we have Quad countries, not India, USA Quad countries. Iran, Russia, China, and Pakistan formed a Quad countries, and they are also conducting meetings. So Iran, China, Russia, Quad countries. Do remember that Pakistan is part of these Quad countries. Then we have India, Peru had a second joint meeting here. So Peru is a Latin American country. See here, all the countries are important, and the countries which are quite important for the lithium triangle countries. See, lithium triangle countries are Chile, Argentina, and Bolivia. So see here, this is a triangle country. So Chile, Argentina, and Bolivia, lithium triangle countries. Uruguay, Brazil, which is largest country, which is sharing almost all the countries. Peru is in news because of India-Peru Commission. Ecuador, Venezuela, NAM Summit conducted 2016 here. And French Guiana, Suriname, all these countries, and Colombia also. Then we have the Indian government is welcoming Congo to be part of the Solar Alliance. You know very well that International Solar Alliance formed in 2015 by India and France to mark the Paris Agreement. Here is the point I want to confirm that this India and USA also agreed to. USA also joined here. So all the countries which are in topics part of this grouping, and this group focus on solar research. Recently Congo became part of it, so try to have a Congo here. So Congo, close to South Sudan, which is in news because of conflicts, and Sudan is already discussed it. So Congo is a country which you can see here. Uganda is Zambia, and all are the members of the bordering members of the country. So further, we will have the second video coming days. We will read, just try to revise while reading the map. Just have an idea to revise more, remember the more, practice more. Thank you so much and Jai Hind.